item 8. Who should I give this to? Kevin.
Item number 8, in your packet is a letter from Mr. Draskovich that he submitted to the board on February 19th, indicating that he wrote a check to the district in the amount of $30,556, and also indicated that shortly after he wrote that check back in 2005, the district refunded him $1,500. Leaving a total of $29,056 left remaining. The district staff went back and looked at the numbers here, and we do show that Mr. Draskovich wrote a check to the district in the amount of $30,556 as he indicated. $16,960 of that was for impact fees for 8 lots. $8,096 was for ordinance 2 fees for 8 lots. $4,000 was for the ordinance 3 that we just talked about for 8 lots, and $1,500 was installation fees for 6 lots. In September of 2005, the district cut a check to Mr. Draskovich in the amount of $5,500, not the $1,500 that he claimed in his letters.
This was in 06?
Yes, no, in 05.
05.
Yeah, September 6th of 2005, the district cut a check to Mr. Draskovich for $5,500, reimbursing him $4,000 for ordinance 3 for 8 lots, and $1,500 reimbursement for 6 meter installs. And that check cleared about 10 days after we cut the check to him. Based on that, and the district's policy that there's no refunds for ordinance 2 and impact fees, the district holds a position that we paid him $5,500 for those items that we could have reimbursed him for, and that the district, based on the board's policy of not reimbursing for ordinance 2 or impact fees, does not owe Mr. Draskovich additional funds. So that's where staff's recommendation is to the board. I suggest you ask Mr. Draskovich.
No, I didn't know I was reimbursed for the ordinance 3. I knew what happened was when I did this, they started to charge me every month for service. And they say because you paid for the installation. And so they said if you don't have to pay every month for this installation, we'll reimburse you installation. I didn't remember you writing me a check for the ordinance 3 fees.
Yeah.
But you did.
Yeah, that according, and we've got the bank records and everything showing that.
That's great. Then I asked for the receipt so I knew what was going on, and it was my mistake. I don't mean to be asking for something that you paid for. But the problem is I had planned on developing those half-acre lots with the secondary water. And because it's hard to use a half-acre because of the water, and then when you decided not to have secondary water in Bunkerville anymore and made it not feasible for me to develop those lots. To be honest with you right now, the fees, I'm giving up like over $20,000 what the fees would cost right now if I were to apply for them. I'm not asking for that. I'm just not able to use, I've never hooked up, I've never done anything on it, I just paid for it. I still own the land, it was me who did it. But it's not feasible to develop them without the secondary water. And I mentioned that at that last one, you guys decided not to do secondary water anymore. So that's why I asked to have that reimbursed, even though, like I say right now, it'd be like maybe not the 29, it'd be like 25, and the fees right here would be like for the 8 lots, it'd be over $40,000, 48, 45. So
Don't those costs enhance the price of the property?
I'm sorry, I
Doesn't
can't
the cost that you paid enhance the property values? If you went to sell those lots, would you take that?
Well, they were parcels, they're not lots.
Pardon?
They're parcels, they're
Right.
not lots. Two of the
Well,
parcels,
partial, whatever.
two of the parcels can't even be developed because they're too narrow. They just, when I came and applied for them, they just said you have to show me you have so many parcels. two of those that I bought aren't even designated 2 parcels. 2 of the parcels are like 50 by 500, almost 1,000 feet, you know. But he said if you've got that many parcels, I'll let you pay this fee for it, for future development on it. And so they're not, if you notice, 2 of them aren't even tied to any lot or any parcel. And 2 of the 6 parcels are not developable.
But that's a county problem, not a
What's
district
that
problem.
got to do with
right?
us?
I mean,
Well,
that-
the fact that you're saying, like I say, I had planned on developing lots, half-acre lots, but when you took away the secondary water, it made it where it's not feasible. But that was my rationale.
Help me out here, Mr. Bullwood.
I think the board's hands are tied on this issue. I understand Mr. Draskovich's issue and why he's requesting this, but currently, at least with our current rules and regulations, the Ordinance 2 policy says specifically Ordinance 2 fees are not refundable under any circumstance. And there's also a provision in the impact fee connection and service fee schedule that says under no circumstances shall impact fees be refunded. And those are essentially the fees that you're asking for a refund at this time. And so without a change to these policies, the board would be going against their own internal policies to give a refund right now with the way they're written. I mean, the language is pretty clear and says under any circumstances. Both of those say under no circumstances or under any circumstances.
The thing that's a little weird to me is that the fact that you're saying that two of those lots aren't tied, two of the impact fees aren't tied to lots?
Correct.
It was my understanding that Ordinance 2 fees were always tied to lots.
Well, I think the way things are done now, typically when we are having Ordinance 2 fees paid, there's a plat map that comes in and we're tying them to parcels and giving them for the platted lots. I don't know what was done back then.
Can I wasn't part of the district, but just I worked at Bullock Brothers, and I know that some of the PUDs, before the fees went up, they paid in advance for what they were projecting their development. So say they paid 500 fees, it went to that PUD. So these 2 that aren't assigned to something, it's very likely that it was intended to go to one of the parcels that was developable so that he could have 3 on 1. I don't know, because like I said, I wasn't part of it, but I know that there is, developments out there that have an allotted amount of impact and ordinance fees that have been paid, or ordinance fees. They didn't pay the impact, they paid the ordinance fees, and it was a certain amount because that's what they were projecting their development to be at the height of it, and they were trying to get in before the prices went up. So it's locked to a large parcel, but not necessarily a lot.
And within the county, you can also, it's possible to take, if I'm mistaken, Rich, tell me, but those parcels can be combined at the county level and redivided so that then they could be sold, combined in a way where the property would be sellable.